Today we are looking at the Straight Talk Moto G. This phone is by Motorola. It retails for $169.99. It features a 4.5-inch screen, 1.2 quad-core, 1.2 gig quad-core processor, 5-megapixel digital camera with LED flash. It's also got a 1.3 front-facing camera. It comes with Android 4.3, which is gingerbread, and it is of the GSM variety, which means Straight Talk will more than likely activate this one with AT&T. One thing to keep in mind, if you've seen this advertised by Straight Talk, or if maybe you've seen the box at Walmart, is that it is advertised as being 4G. Now, as you notice, it doesn't say LTE, so what that means is that this is not a full LTE device, meaning data speeds are enhanced 3G, which is basically what the 4G means. So data speeds aren't going to be anywhere near as fast as an LTE device. But other than that, the $169.99 price is actually very low for a brand name phone like this, and it's got some pretty cool features, namely the fact that it comes with Gorilla Glass. So unlike all the other low-cost Straight Talks, this one does not have a plastic screen. It is indeed Gorilla Glass, which is always nice to have, makes the phone more durable. Now on the design, it's fairly typical of your run-of-the-mill Android. As you can see, it's all black. It's got a gloss black bezel going around the screen. On the right hand side you have the lock/power button. You got your volume rockers here, your usual 3.5mm iPod type headphone jack, and then on the bottom you find the charge port. One of the things that I find interesting on this phone though is the fact that it doesn't have the typical Android buttons that you find on most of these low-cost Androids. So as you can see, this bottom section here there's no buttons there like the capacitive touch buttons that you'll find on the other Androids. Instead, they're built into the operating system, which is kind of cool, but at the same time is a bit misleading on the screen size, because when you're watching a video and whatnot, there may be a setting to change this. I'm not sure, I haven't looked, but when you're watching a video you do lose a little bit of real estate here. So it isn't a full 4.5-inch screen as advertised. Another interesting thing on this phone is the fact that the battery is not removable or replaceable simply by just popping it out and popping a new one back in. As you can see, it says there, battery not user removable. So despite the fact that it comes with a battery cover, there is no removable battery there. It's built into the phone. And then lastly, another interesting item, which is a bit of a drawback if you ask me, is the fact that you only get 8 gigs of storage. So what that means is that this phone does not have an SD card port, so you can't expand that. All you get is the 8 gigs that comes on the phone. So as you can see, there's nowhere on the phone that'll accommodate an SD card. Okay, so you saw here on the top, that's the SIM card for the carrier. So there is no SD port on this phone. Okay, so moving on to the dimensions on this one. The phone is fairly compact for a 4.5-inch screen. Really, it measures pretty much the same as most 4.5-inch screen devices out there, at least the Straight Talk ones. The height on this one is a little bit more than 5 inches. It's about 5.1. The width is about 2.5, which is fairly typical. The thickness is about half, a little bit less than that. And then on the screen, as advertised, is approximately 4.5. But do be aware that you lose a little bit down here, so the actual viewing area is more like 4.1 or so. So it's more of a 4-inch screen device than a 4.5. Now on the Android stuff, as I said, this one is Android 4.3, so it's Jelly Bean, as you can see there. And as expected, it comes with all the standard Google items such as Google Chrome, Google Maps, YouTube, Gmail, the Play Store, etc., etc. One of the interesting things on this phone as far as the operating system goes is that it completely does away with the standard browser. So all you get is Google Chrome, which I actually like a whole lot better than the standard browser anyway. But if for some reason you don't like Google Chrome and you like the standard browser, be aware that this one does not come with the standard one. The interfaces for texting and the phone are all pretty typical. The screen icons are fairly good sized, as you can see, especially on the landscape mode. It doesn't have swipe, and I'm not sure if you can download that or not, so do be aware of that. The phone keypad is again pretty standard. So overall, this is an excellent phone for the price. It does have its drawbacks, namely the fact that you can't remove or replace the battery and you can't expand the storage. Other than that, this is a very high quality device for the price. I would say it's vastly superior to some of the ZTEs that are in this price range. Though of course the ZTEs all have SD cards and the screens are probably a little bit bigger. They all have removable batteries, etc., etc. But you're not going to find another phone with Gorilla Glass, for example, at this price point. So it's got its pluses and minuses. I would say that the pluses outweigh the minuses, at least in my book. Now, of course, if you need a lot of storage, like if you want to put in like a 16 gig SD card or something like that, you can't do that on this phone. 8 gigs is all you get. But you know, as far as the price goes, you're not going to find a phone that's better, at least in terms of quality, at $169.99. Keep in mind that it is not LTE. Again, it's 4G, aka enhanced 3G. You will need the $45 unlimited card, just like all the other Androids. And I think that about wraps it up. If you're considering this phone, I recommend it. You know, if you don't mind the storage limitations and the fact that you lose a little bit of screen real estate and the removable battery situation.